Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So recently, Tucker Carlson on Fox News said that white supremacy was a hoax. He downplayed the significance of it, suggested that it was so small and so insignificant and it is basically a made up hoax and all that kind of stuff. And I think this is outrageous. I think that he should be fired. So I joined the call for this man to be fired. Recently, Fox News placed this guy on a vacation. Basically they're trying to keep him out of sight so this whole thing will die down. And then once he's out of sight for about a week or so, they're going to put him back up there and hope that you and me will forget the statement that he made. I mean, that statement is so utterly ridiculous, so outrageous, especially at a time like this when you have 20 people who were recently killed by white supremacists in El Paso, Texas, where you had this white supremacist go into a Walmart and kill 20 people, injuring even more than that. And this white supremacist wrote out a manifesto, so it wasn't ambiguous in terms of his motivation. This man was motivated by his fear and his hatred of immigrants. Yet and still, you have this man, Tucker Carlson, talking about white supremacy as some kind of hoax. Was it a hoax when that guy went in there and killed 20 people? Tell their family members that it's some hoax, that their loved ones are not actually dead. Was it a hoax when Dylann Roof went into that church and killed 9 black people who were simply trying to pray and worship in their church? Was that some kind of hoax? Was it a hoax when that killer went into a Kroger parking lot and shot and killed 2 black people? Was it a hoax when a white supremacist traveled from Maryland to New York to kill a random black person and killed a black man? Was that some kind of hoax? Was it a hoax when Tim McVeigh blew up a federal building, killing hundreds of people? Was that some kind of hoax? Is it a hoax, the information that the FBI has presented, FBI and other government agencies have presented, making it clear, abundantly clear, that white supremacists and white nationalists pose a greater threat than foreign-based terrorist groups, are responsible for more murder and mayhem than foreign-based terrorist groups? Is that some kind of hoax as well? All these people killed by these white supremacists. Was it a hoax when you had those shootings that took place in other places where you had a shooting at a synagogue? Was that a hoax as well? That is white supremacy. White supremacy is a reality, and sadly you have people like this man, Tucker Carlson, trying to ignore this reality. And this is what Fox News does, man. Fox News is an agent. It is a propaganda tool of white supremacy and racism in this country. And this notion that these white supremacists are so minute and small is proven false. That notion is proven false by all these statistics talking about how these white supremacists pose a rising threat in this country, and not just in this country, but throughout the world. We saw what happened in New Zealand, where you had a white supremacist kill Muslims. This is outrageous that you would have a talk show host, a news analyst on a major network say something this ridiculous in light of all this history of white supremacist terrorism against black people, against Hispanics, against Muslims, and against other groups of people. This is absolutely ridiculous, and it's time to fire Tucker Carlson. It's insane that somebody would get on a major network and make such a ridiculous statement. And something has to be pointed out, and that's this, man. Like, white people had this idea that white supremacy is only the KKK or the Nazis or some other group that's blatantly white supremacist. White supremacy is a part of this society. It runs through the veins of this society. White supremacy is as American as apple pie. I mean, when you look at the the prison industrial complex. That's a manifestation of white supremacy. When you have mass incarceration of black people, when you look at the problem of police brutality in this country, where unarmed black men are disproportionately killed by these police, that's a manifestation of white supremacy. When you look at the achievement gap between black students and white students, when you look at the failing schools that are in black communities, that's a manifestation of white supremacy. When you look at the health disparities, when you see that black women die in childbirth more than other types of women, when you see the ridiculously high infant mortality rate, when you see the lack of health insurance in the black community compared to other communities, that's a manifestation of white supremacy. When you look at the massive wealth disparities between black people and white people, that's a manifestation of white supremacy. So white supremacy is not just something dressed up in a white hood, or something wearing a swastika, or the blatant image of white supremacy. You know, white supremacy is manifested in every aspect of the society. The massive wealth disparities, again, huge. You know, according to the Nation, they said that it would take black people over 200 and something years to amass the same level of wealth as white people. This is a mainstream publication, the Nation. And all these other countless statistics about the huge wealth gap between black and white people, again, another manifestation of white supremacy. So this guy, Tucker Carlson, doesn't know what he's talking about. And the fact that he would make a statement like this in the face of all these acts of white terrorism tells you that this man has no compassion. It tells you that this man is insensitive. And in fact, it tells you that this man is an outright racist, and he needs to go. So it's time for Fox News to fire Tucker Carlson. Peace.